I wonder if my save transfers and shit.
I feel like it has to.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome. My name is Alex Gonzalez. With me today is my good old friend, J.E.
Hey, that's me.
And please remember, we are not game devs. How are you doing today, Jay? How was your holidays? Are you feeling good or are you sad?
I am sad because I didn't tell you this yet. Pretty sure my household has COVID. So there's that.
I don't know why you didn't tell me that yet.
I don't know. I went in for a test today. Adriana, my girlfriend, got tested yesterday, rapid test, and she was positive. We live together in a studio apartment.
Yeah, you guys sleep in the same bed.
Exactly. So
I'll tell you though. I got COVID and Marina kept testing and she never got COVID. And basically what happens is you'll end up feeling like shit and you'll have all those symptoms, but your test may come back as negative and you'll just be like, so what happened to me?
Yeah. But I mean, if I have it, I'm asymptomatic. Like I don't feel sick.
And you know what I gotta tell you, Jay? It's because you went out for Christmas, obviously. You conversed with a bunch of people. You guys do all those traditions. You guys go to those raves.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did this Christmas. Is just meet hundreds and hundreds of people and just start.
You guys go ice skating. You guys went
kissing.
To the shopping. Yep,
it's a big old orgy on Christmas this year.
But those are not the orgies we are talking about today. Today we are creating something new. Every week, We Are Not Game Devs will create a new exciting video game idea that we have always wanted to play, but do not have any knowledge or know how to create the wonderful experience that are video games. And today is my turn to present We Are Not Game Devs 186 IP. So this is going to be more of an abstract idea. You're going to play. I don't know what timeline this works in. I don't know what technology. I don't even truly know what the main character is. But I want to create a game in which you're in a giant garbage dump. And as you're in a garbage dump, you have a burying machine. And as you bury, you go down and you're trying to find treasures and defeat enemies. And as you're doing this, you have a mech that can bury and you have a mech that can also fight. And that's what you're using to find treasures and also defeat other monsters as well as other people who are trying to scavenge for the same things you are. And it can be an online game or an offline game. And you're trying to get all these different things to customize your mech, get treasures, get items, and then eventually see how far you can go down. And I want there to be a bunch of levels. And that's it. What do you think so far? That's my basic concept.
What I want to do, first of all, I don't know how you're imagining it looking in my head.
Current login. I don't know.
In my head, it's going to be very arcadey. So in my head, it's going to look good, but what you're seeing on screen, imagine, have you ever played like Towerfall?
Yes, once with you.
It's going to be kind of like that, where it's a one screen and each player that plays the game is going to have a character, right? But what it's going to be like filled up like an ant farm, right? And everyone starts at the top. And maybe it's even like pachinko or plinko, where like at first we're all sectioned off in our own rooms, so we can't interact at the top. You have to start digging. But then once you start digging, you start going, and there's like natural hazards in wherever you dig, in terms of like environmental hazards or like maybe little monsters in between as you're digging down. The goal is to get to the very bottom, but while you're trying to get to the bottom, you might run into another player character, these hazards, and you got to figure it out as you go down. And it could be either mainly PvP or more of like a race to get down quicker, depending on the people that you end up playing in the lobby with. Like it could be like battle royales where like people hunt others down, or it could be like also in battle royales where some people are just objective based and they just keep going.
How are we going to handle the items where there's going to be upgrades as well as treasures that you can sell to get other items? And I want it to be kind of a balance between digging and fighting. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where you can upgrade your mech to either go faster through digging or so that you can encounter fights, but you go slower?
I think it'll be like MOBA based, where it'll be like as you dig down, there's just going to be enemies like ads or whatever you want to call them. Um, Naturally, as you go down, when you beat them, you either get points or they'll drop like upgrades, like random upgrades. I don't know if you want it to be random or you physically actually get to choose, but whatever you want, however the game you want the direction to go in, they'll either drop a currency or they'll drop a random upgrade. And then if they drop a currency, as you dig through, there might be like workshop zones where you could spend whatever currency that you did for like upgrade paths. And then like once you play the game enough, you'll just like it'll just be, if you play these type of games with a currency like that, you just know what buttons to press because you know what you like. You know what I mean?
And then I want the mech to end up looking cool. Whatever this digging machine is, I want it to end up looking dope once you've gotten far enough.
And I wouldn't even be against where like there's multiple frames you could even purchase with different abilities and different upgrades, and they'll
That'd
all
be
have
cool.
different aesthetic choices. And at the beginning of the match, you choose everyone starts off with like the same frame, but eventually once the game's out for a while, you unlock like different in like Titanfall, you unlock different Titans or whatever, and then they each have their own upgrade path. Or like in MOBAs or in hero shooters, it's like different heroes, but it's just your mech frame, and they're just balanced in different ways.
I like that. And then they'll have maybe should we have mech specials in this game?
Yeah, I'm down with that. Where it's like a meter depending on I don't know how many ads you cleared, and like, or maybe it's just on a cooldown. I think that might be a better idea.
Now, the community members of this game, do you want them all to have mechs, or do you just want it to be... This game is starting to feel kind of like... Not steampunk, but almost like steampunk, but scavenger punk. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like that kind of aesthetic where everyone's scavenging. It's almost like how Star Wars always starts. Like the first movie takes on this aesthetic, then ditches it. What other things? Atlantis, the Disney movie. I'm trying to think of other references so people can kind of get into their minds.
I mean, you mentioned Gurren Lagann earlier.
Transformers, but the vehicle one.
Fucking Mortal Engines, which is a movie I loved. Which is essentially this game, except they're not digging underground. The continents are roaming mech machines that eat each other.
How do you want the cutscenes to look? Do you want it to be not cutscenes, but when you're talking to other player characters, do you want it to be one of those things where the dialogue it splits off and you see a different portrait of each character? Where one you see what they look like in the game, and another one you see a more enhanced version where they're like. It shows more detail and they look like an actual person. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it shows like from their face down to their mid chest.
Honestly, I didn't think there'd be any dialogue. If there were dialogue, I thought it'd just be voice acted.
Not much.
And
we can do voice acting.
Talk, and then it would just open up like if you're talking to the storekeeper or the upgrade mechanic person, it's just they're just gonna say something when you talk to them and then just bring up the menu. It's like not even gonna be a thing because I think offline it'll pause the game, but it's also an online game as well, and so it just has to always be moving. So it's going to be the story is going to be more told through ambience and voice lines from characters and surrounding characters, not so much being told to you. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. And then so we talked about the way it looks. Do you want it to be chibi in the way that they look, or do you want the mechs to actually look like... Because how big do you imagine these mechs looking on screen versus... You know what I'm talking about?
I think it's going to be like 2.5D in terms of graphic-wise, where it's like... There's like 3D backgrounds that are like pre-rendered and stuff, and then like the mechs are like 3D models, but then it's going to be on a 2D surface. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How big the mechs are, it's going to be like
That's what I was thinking
Like,
too.
I mean, it like any 2D platformer, it's not going to be that big because everyone's going to be in the mech, so there's not going to have to be that
Right.
size comparison. And even if you get out of your mech, I don't think it's going to be like Mega Man where it's like a lot bigger. It's just gonna your character's gonna be the same size, and then when you jump in the mech, all of a sudden you just fit in there. You know what I mean?
Right. And, like it's almost like you just fit in, almost like you get in and you don't have to move. It's like you jump in and you're just there.
Yeah, like a D.Va mech, I guess.
Right.
Is
Right.
how I imagine it to look like a D.Va mech. Essentially, in my head, it's a D.Va mech
Okay.
with
So,
claws instead of guns.
mm, okay, so we're gonna have so that's gonna be the digging. Is I think maybe there's different ways you can do it. Claws, drills,
Yeah, and that depends on
laser
the
beams.
frame and the type of mech, I guess. And so I think
Right.
they're all gonna have aesthetic looks, but the starting one just looks like a D.Va mech.
Okay.
One just
Okay.
looks like a Hammond ball. It's just a ball. I don't know how that works, but
I'm trying to think of how that would work if it's just a ball.
it just pushes the dirt away like a worm eats it
I was thinking the same thing. Is like it would open up and eat it like
like
Pac-Man,
Pac-Man.
and then yeah, and then move through it. How would that
Sure,
work? And I
maybe
guess
it's not even
okay,
a
let's do this. Like okay, it's a this one is not going to be anybody's favorite. So it eats like a Pac-Man, and then you can press once it eats enough dirt, you can make a bomb out of the dirt and leave the bomb behind you, kind of like a Metroid ball.
Yeah,
Yeah, so then you can damage enemies that way.
or clear more
Or clear more
dirt.
dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
I can see another one being like a mole
Mhm.
where it has claws and it can kind of like dig, but also use those claws as a lunge attack against other people, or do a spinning move so it can lunge forward and clear a lot of dirt or do a lot of damage.
With the mole one is a little overpowered, but it has low visibility, so it's zoomed in a lot closer.
Oh, because it's
when
blind.
when you play it. But it's super strong and super fast, and it has high defense. Like it's just high stats on everything. Your just visibility is so low, and then that also creates problems with running into more dangerous ads and environmental hazards around the map because you can't see forward. I don't know how this is gonna work either, but like in my head, what it's gonna be like we're gonna have different maps, but at first they're all covered by sand, which is kind of like a fog of war. But I think like some areas of the sand you're gonna know, and if you play the game enough, you're gonna know what it is from the outline of how the sand looks. Like it's like, oh, that's a workshop. Oh, that's like this mini boss ad that I know gives a lot of points if I kill it. And like they're gonna be maps, but they're more gonna be like it's gonna be randomized, but it's gonna be like a template. Like this one's more fantasy, like this area is more underground volcano, like this one is, I don't know, cave like or whatever, and they'll have like their own enemy spawns and stuff like that.
Right. And then we're also going to have different textures of like dirt. So we're going to have regular dirt that's easy to move. We're going to have sand that you can move through, but maybe like you move different, like it's easier to displace, but it moves differently.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then we're going to have like harder packed, like almost like diamond stuff where you're not going to be able to go through that. And then other stuff that takes multiple hits to break. Or if you're in a weaker mech that's built for fighting, maybe you can't break that. If you're like in a combat mech.
No, I don't think we should have mechs that are better or worse on any map. You know what I mean? Like there can't be a mech that can't do something on a specific map that another mech can or cannot do. Because then on that map, just no one will ever pick that mech. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm just saying like it'll be kind of like randomized where the tiles are, but you can always go around it. It'll be like a shortcut. But I guess yeah, because then anybody
if it's kind of like that, then they'll just be on every single map. They'll just look different, but that mechanic would always be there.
Right.
It would just change depending on what the map looks like. It'll be a boulder in one, and then another one it would be like a little hill, grass hill. I don't know.
And then I kind of want there to be some randomness where you can kind of end up in caverns that are either grassy or there's water or there's lava.
Yeah. Keep in mind it's 2D though, so it's just gonna look. It's what is it? Just an aesthetic
Like
change,
a green and vine background where one's going to be like lava-y.
yeah.
I wonder if you can do underwater caves. And then have like a partial swim mechanic.
Maybe.
Because there's got to be a lot of levels to play, you know? You got to have a lot of things going on.
I feel like the water level would be the most hated if this is the mechanic for it. But there's
naturally,
there'll be like pockets where if you accidentally dig into, it'll flood a portion of the map and you have to get out of the flooded area and find a new area. Like once it's flooded, it's like no longer viable. Like everything in that cave now just sucks. You have to go like out of the flood and then dig a new path.
and maybe there's water enemies that get in there too.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking that if it floods, you would just kill all the ads, and so all the ads are just gone, and you don't get any of the benefits there.
That does suck.
Yeah.
How's it going to be for lava? Similarly?
Maybe it'll be damage over time.
Not bad, not bad. Maybe in both water and lava, you have to get out within a certain time, so you can kind of weigh the risk reward of trying to dig through there for a shortcut.
Yeah. There could be a map where it's just earthquakes all the time, and so it changes all the tiles randomly while you're playing. And so like
that works.
You could all of a sudden be somewhere that's already cleared by another character and you just didn't know, or and it wasn't there before. There could be one where there's air blowing all the time, and so sand keeps shifting and paths close up that were open before.
We should make another extension of this game where you have the option to do a level builder for other people to play. With our tiles, our mechanics, our mini bosses, and everything.
Yeah,
what do you
I don't
think?
see why not.
Right, like a little section where you can do that.
Yeah. I would think it'd be kind of like Overwatch's creative mode or whatever it's called, where they make their own game modes with the mechanics given to them.
Yeah. I'm thinking that too. I think that would work. Okay. So now this game's kind of getting robust here. What's the overarching story?
I don't
that
think
maybe the world was once really populated and now it's not, and people dig for supplies. That's it.
Maybe it's just there was a drought and then just a never-ending sandstorm that covered everything, and now precious resources are hidden underground, and so mechs were created to dig under there. But it's different regions and different clans all trying to get their hands on the loot underground until it's all gone.
I like that. And then maybe we'll have different designs of different characters, which are different clans that you run into. And maybe these are fighters that you'll have in the single player campaign, where you'll run into different mech designs that you can unlock. And those are the ones that you can use in multiplayer.
Is there going to be a single player campaign? In my head, this was going to be like a LOL situation where it's like,
I see that happening, but now I kind of want like a little single player. We're making this pretty robust now with a level creator, a single player, a multiplayer.
If we get a single
little bit of something for everybody.
Mode, if there's a single player mode, I imagine it more like how Splatoon does their single player, where it's just maps that are created specifically for that, but there's not much story in between. It's just stages essentially that tell a story and string it together, but like it's not like we have to create new assets just for the story single player mode. It's just
but like it shows where the main characters come from, almost like, you know, like there's unique pilots for each one that you can choose from in the multiplayer, and you end up battling them, and you have an original mech.
Is that how it's going to work? I thought it was just you have a generic looking character, but the mech is the thing that changes.
Right.
Are you going to also have the option for you to change your avatar, like have different character options or whatever?
Yeah, just generic ones. And maybe we'll have what would be cool is unlockables based on achievements. You can change the way you look.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to be at a mech very often, right?
No, but it'll be like in your profile when people want to add you as a friend and check out your stats. Because we're also going to have like a stat screen and everything.
Yeah. Maybe victory poses at the end of the match and stuff.
That too. Yeah. And maybe mech dances and the way you come out of your mech too.
Yeah.
There'll be different ways you can pop out of your mech and eject.
Yeah, for sure. I see it.
Great. It seems like, okay. We're getting somewhere here. Is there anything else that you would love to see in this game? What's something that you would want to fight for here?
I mean, the only other things I could imagine adding to it is talking about the game modes and what's in there. Like, I don't even understand fully the first game mode. I guess it's like a MOBA race to the bottom with PvP thrown in there as well.
I think it's a race to the bottom where you avoid enemies, right? So you're avoiding these enemies.
Or trying to kill
them. While also trying
to
get treasure. The treasure, if you stop and get the treasure, can help you go faster. Or you can avoid the treasure. Same thing with the enemies.
Or stronger.
Or stronger. And if you beat the enemies, you have the chance to do that too. Or you can avoid all that. Yeah. But if you avoid all that, their chances are, if you run into a player enemy, you'll just get beat up.
Is it Battle Royale rules where that's the end? And now you start a new match?
You could do that, or I guess you could start at the bottom. Maybe you can start at the top again and use other players' tunnels to catch up to them.
We'll steal something from Call of Duty. We'll have competitive mode
Gulag,
where it's literally just Battle Royale mode. You get killed by either an ad or another player character, you're gone. That's done. You start a new game. Then we'll have another mode. We'll call it something else, obviously, but Call of Duty Warzone had a mode called Plunder. I've never played it, but I think essentially the idea is that there were treasure hidden around the map, and every time you kill a character, you get money, and then whenever you find treasure, you get money, and whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. In that game, you have like 3 respawns or something like that, where you just come back for free. Maybe that would be this mode and this, where it's like the treasure hunting mode, where it's literally you have so many respawns, and then there's like a timer that ticks down, and whoever gets the most money by the end of the timer, or maybe when the first person reaches the bottom, whichever is first, whoever has the most treasure by the end of it wins the game.
Okay, and what happens when another player kills another player? Do you want them to lose half of their treasure, half of their money?
In Plunder, I think it's like half their money or something like that. In the Battle Royale competitive mode, I want to say it's like their loot or their gear. Maybe you have a chance. Maybe it'll be like spell break, where they like you could choose to. Oh, this guy had a level 3. This type of arm where I upgraded, I have a level 2, this kind of arm. I'll just switch out that part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even if it does a different thing, he has a higher level version of it. So I'll take it anyway because it's just higher level anyway.
Okay. I like where this is going.
Yeah.
So.
Or they could just drop credit and then you just go to a workshop and then just spend it, Either or. I don't know how you would like it, but.
We can do it either way. I think I like having, because we're not going to have rounds, right? It's going to be continuous.
I think it's continuous. Like it'll be, everyone starts at the top, start it and go. And I don't think it's going to be like matchmaking continuous. So people keep joining. It's just going to be like one match is the round. You know what I mean? And then I could also see other game modes. Like we could add like a MOBA, like a true MOBA game mode with towers and everything. And like, that whole thing. I don't know how that would work, but I'm sure we could we could like do a creative way to put a MOBA into this game.
All right, so we have that. And how long do you want the rounds to last? What are you thinking?
I mean, if it's going to be like a battle royale, they last anywhere between seconds to 15 to 30 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to be
Usually
digging for a
15.
while. And on the way to dig, I think we should have fun stuff in the ground for them to find.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's going to be, like you said, hidden rooms and stuff like that. And I think there'll be like rare tile, like rooms, like rare tiles or whatever you want to call them, where every like 10 games you might have a chance on that map there spawned a secret room that if you go it does a special thing, and there's like a few of these special rooms that we have in a rotation that you have a chance to find if you do it, and they'll always give either more loot, more resources, maybe a new frame, like a decked out frame that you could just go into and it's like fully upgraded on everything type of thing, you know what I mean?
Right. Okay, what colors do you want to see here? Do you want it to be really colorful as you're using different effects?
Yeah, I think all the colors, all the particle effects, just explosions of different stuff happening on screen.
So do you want there to be like glowing rocks with like minerals?
I think the treasure, if we're going with the story, is going to be more like ancient relics that are scattered throughout. So it's not going to be like minerals. It's going to be like an old monitor computer PC thing, or like a iPhone, or like a tablet, you know what I mean? And maybe they'll have cute designs and stuff in terms of the treasure. And maybe we'll have like callbacks and references back to things in modern day. In terms of like what I mean of colors and explosions, I think the mechs obviously are going to look super cool. I think whenever you use like digging will have like a cool animation to it with like dirt flying around and stuff.
There's got to be cool animations and sounds for when the mechs get upgraded, when they start up, and when you jump in.
Yeah. And I even think like we could even put in the small detail work where if you get like, if you upgrade your digging arm versus your weapon arm, the sound effect is different because you're doing something else. Every frame, it'll like have different upgrade paths, so it won't even be the same upgrades. They'll all sound, each mech will sound different, have their own feel, have their own emotes that we talked about earlier, and all that stuff.
Okay, great. I like where this is going now. Do you want there to be windows on the mechs, or for you just to get in and then the player just drives it?
What do you mean windows?
You know, where there's like some, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is you want there to be like a recognizable cockpit.
No, because it's all, you're not first person at all, right?
No, you're not. This is going to be like kind of like you're
you
zoomed
mean like
out.
If there was like a visual HUD that comes up on your screen?
No, nothing like that. I guess there'll be, I guess, like materials and stuff on the HUD. You're going to have like the amount of specials you can have.
No, check this out. So every time you pick a frame, it's not just the frame and the mech that you control on screen. Your entire UI looks different.
That's dope.
So your HP level will look different. Maybe like one will have a gauge while one's a bar.
Oh, what if the warnings too? What if every frame you choose, when the voiceover warnings sound different because the mech has a different voice?
Yeah, mech has a different voice, has a different warning message that pops up on your screen, has a different warning like alarm, like versus near. You know what I mean? Like they all sound different, have different feel to them. Maybe that will even be a fucking choice, is to change the sound effects. You know how like in a lot of like if you build your own droid in Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, you could choose your droid's voice, like how they beep and boop. Maybe you have like different beeps and boops for each frame, even like that could be a additional cosmetic that you could unlock.
Most definitely. Okay. This is looking good. Is there any mech or anything that you could see that you would want to be super cool in it? Like what would be like a cool mech that you think would, like, that you're envisioning?
I don't know. Maybe like one that's like a dirt fish where it doesn't even dig, it just swims through the dirt.
Huh.
But it's like super easy to break. It's not that strong. It's just really fast. It's
And
literally just
maybe
for
it's like
digging.
a shark, like a sand shark, but that also has like mini fish that are attached to its fins that it can send out like drills to attack different people that are like missiles.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay, I like where
Speaking
this
of
is going.
the main game mode, by the way, what if you are just the fish and just go straight down? No one can keep up with you at a certain point. And what if you do reach the finish goal? Does the game just end and you win because you were just the fastest one there? What stops someone
I
from doing that?
I think there's also going to be like a second, third, and fourth. But if people take too long, it'll just end. And maybe if
Well,
you reach the bottom, the different like, what if when you reach the bottom, the tunnels that you use start collapsing in on themselves? So like if other
or
players are using their tunnels from the top down, it slowly starts like fading. Does that make sense?
sure.
It's my attempt at making a mechanic where like the game starts slowly ending. You know, like in a race, if in a racing game, if you take too long to finish, the game just starts counting down for you. It's like, all right, buddy, the race is over for you. People are waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I'm trying to prevent is for someone to go down that quick in the first place. Like maybe what
There's
it
going to
could
be,
be.
I think, mini bosses for each player to face. So you can't go down that quickly.
Yeah.
Like you can't avoid everything. In theory, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, or just have like tougher ads near the bottom and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But even then, like a really good player would just be able to avoid it all and just like sneak past all of them super quick and end the game faster than it should have ended.
Then maybe we'll have ranked where there's going to be a bunch of players that can do that.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of some clever counter on why the fish mech wouldn't be everyone's choice and why no one would pick it, because if you don't pick it, you're not going to.
I think there's going to be certain traps and certain mini bosses that set traps and certain levels where, like, if you're a fish and you enter a lava level, you're going to lose like half or 3/4 of your HP. And if you encounter an ad as you're swimming through and they touch you, you'll just die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's environmental then. So each map has something that happens, and it happens to everyone. But for the fish mech specifically, if you don't upgrade, you just don't have enough health to go down if you haven't upgraded anything at all.
Right.
Like you at least have to upgrade your health like 3 times in every map or something in order to reach the bottom. Otherwise, natural environments will just kill you. Like maybe if you get too deep and you don't have enough armor or something, your mech just explodes. So you need that for every mech. Or maybe it's a hindrance on the fish itself. Maybe the fish, the deeper you go, there's just continual damage that always happens. Maybe that's just the fish mech.
So you have to play like a game of Snake where you have to stop every now and then and eat or something or gain more.
Yeah, like it's just a passive that hurts you all the time. It's just a negative passive.
So maybe when you absorb a nutrient, you go faster, but the longer you are without that nutrient, you go slower.
Yeah. Or you just have to kill something. You just have to continuously get health somehow as you're going down, and also upgrade your health so you have a bigger pool, because I feel like it's also going to be exponential in how much damage is done over time the deeper you go.
Okay.
There.
All right.
That solves it. A negative passive, which makes everyone automatically not want to be that mech.
Not true. Not if you're really good at it, right?
That's true.
So It all depends.
Yeah.
So what type of music are you listening to?
Depends on the map that you're playing, I feel like. Each map will have a different vibe depending on the region, and it'll feel a different way. General vibe of this, though, I think the music will all have a general vibe because it's post-apocalyptic. There's sand everywhere. Maybe it has like I don't know. For some reason in my head, I hear a lot of percussion, like a lot of drums and stuff.
Drums and kind of quiet and kind of like a deserty feel where
there's that instrument that literally is just a ball on a piece of wood and you smack it and it goes.
I don't know that. I'm not familiar with that instrument.
It makes like a bouncy noise.
Huh. Well, we can do all that. I'm liking it. All right. So we got the music down here. We're going to have like some percussion, some instrumentals. It's not going to be too much in the way. There's going to be absolutely no vocals.
Yeah.
What about pricing here for everything you're getting? A multiplayer, a single player, a level builder made by an indie developer. What are you getting?
Free to play.
Free to play.
With
sounds good.
Obviously a battle pass and lots of cosmetics, premium currency, all the good stuff. It's
and
just
different effects depending on what you want your spells and your mech to look like. And we can even swap out voices and UIs.
You finally have a reference point on what this game rollout is going to be with Pokemon Unite. You finally understand it now. That's what it's going to be. It's just going to be a battle pass you pay for. You get
with
one prize
mechs.
pay, and then you just unlock it. If you don't unlock everything by the end, you either pay money to finish it, or you feel like you wasted some money.
You just miss out.
But you're gonna buy it again next season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it just hooks you. Yeah. And then of course you could buy premium currency just to outright buy whatever cosmetics you want. But on the battle pass, it's like stuff you could only get if you get it on that battle pass type of thing.
Right. Well, it sounds great. Well, Jay, let's get your timer out because we got to name this game.
Go.
No, that's not a good name. I was thinking about combining dig and battle, and I got diddle, and I was like, no, that's when someone gets molested. You don't want diddle. Big. No, that's a name already. Race to the bottom.
Down drill.
What about drill down? Down drill. All one word. Drill down, drown, for short. Drill down, down drill, driller. What else could you think of here? What else is this game about? At the core, what is this game about? What are you doing? Who are you? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you got for me, Jay?
Nothing. I don't know.
Drill down, down drill, race to the bottom. What else? What do we got here? Dickas? No. I combined mecha and dig to get Dicka.
Under the crust.
Okay, under the crust and how long?
Nah, we're not using that one.
Okay.
Breaking ground.
Breaking ground.
Breaking ground in 3 minutes and 4 seconds.
Breaking Ground is a free-to-play multiplayer game where you must dig in a post-apocalyptic world, dig up treasure, dig as far as you can while avoiding enemies and other players, upgrade your mech, trade frames, use different battle styles, including arms and digging materials, so that you can break ground faster. All right, Jay, we got a complete game here. Would this be a game that you'd want to play, and is it fun?
Yeah, it seems like a unique version of battle royales that I normally like to play anyway. Maybe the 2D aspect of it might scare me off, but I don't know. I think it'll be a fun time. Also, at the end of the game, it could zoom out and show everyone's digging path.
That'd be cool. That'd definitely be cool. Yeah. There's someone who's like, what is he doing? Why isn't he competing with the rest of us? Oh, he's making art. I think for me, I would want to play it. I just have to I'd be wary because I'm like, is this like SteamWorld Dig, but Battle Royale? What's going on here?
Yeah.
We'd have to see. Now that we have a complete game, what game studio would you assign to make Breaking Ground the best?
Whoever made Spelunky, I guess.
Whoever made Spelunky, I guess. All right. We got that one. And
Spelunky is by Mossmouth and a guy named Derek Yu.
Okay, I'm thinking about SNK, and they're going to do Metal Slug, but it's going to be that kind of look and feel, but you're digging.
I'll also give it to, just for funsies, Weird Beard. The guys that made Tricky Towers, which is that Tetris game with physical effects, like wind affected the Tetraminos and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. Has nothing to do with this game, but they're indie dev, and I think they could do something cool with it.
And I would love it if it were nothing more than the newest Nintendo IP for the Switch, OLED.
Mm-hmm. It'll be the Switch Battle Royale. It'll be like the Switch multiplayer game that tried again and failed again.
Then that would be cool because then they could add like pipes and stuff.
Yeah. And like eventually add Mario inspired mechs, Zelda inspired mechs, Donkey Kong mech.
There we go.
Wasn't there a Nintendo game about digging at one point?
Dig Dug?
Was that Nintendo?
I'm not sure.
I don't know either.
But with that, our 186th IP has gone gold. We hope you look forward to this experience that will probably never release. You can write to @poundgames@gmail.com if you have anything to patch into the game we create today. Also, give us feedback. We are still learning how to make this show better, and your feedback really helps. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to back our ideas, please head over to patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. Patrons receive episodes 2 days early and an extra podcast at the beginning, which you caught the tail end of our conversation at the beginning of this episode. That's patreon.com/wearenotgamedevs. If you liked our show, why not subscribe and give us all the stars on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Spotify, YouTube, and more. And if they ask for a review, instead of reviewing our show, become your inner game critic and review Breaking Ground, the video game we just created. Thank you for joining me today. We will be back next Friday with another new IP. My name is Alex Gonzalez.
My name is Jay Yee.
Thank you. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas, and I'll see you guys next year.
Dig Dug is a maze arcade game developed by Namco in 1981 and released in 1982, distributed in North America by Atari Inc. That being said, Namco Bandai, make this game.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Or is it Bandai Namco?